Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. Welcome. Thank you for joining this evening. I'm going to start the presentation now. And as people come in, then I'll admit them to today's session. Welcome to another session of Distinctive Lifestyle, your life, your terms, your vision, your definition. And I'm Radisha Francis. It's very exciting for me, and also I'm nervous at the same time because I have a whole new class today, people participating who I've never spoken to before. I do anticipate more people joining because there were a lot of registrations for this particular session. So what is the Distinctive Lifestyle? It's a program where I share with you things that have worked for me in my life and that has worked in the lives of others who I've shared the same information with, and they've gone ahead to accomplish their goals and dreams. So this year actually makes our 5th year. It's the 5th year anniversary of the Distinctive Lifestyle program. And what you see on this first screen are some of the products that I've created that help people to accomplish their goals and dreams. Because it's the 5th year anniversary, I'm actually having them redesigned to be able to show the 5 years on it, that it's an anniversary for us, an important anniversary, but also to increase the functionality and how it's been being redesigned to be more functional for those people that use it. So I'm accepting suggestions and recommendations from people who have used them on how to change it. So I'm a bit nervous, but I'm going to continue on with the presentation. Now, the Distinctive Lifestyle, this is not the first session of this particular one. Whenever you see the word living distinctively, it's typically an in-person event. It's typically an in-person event, but everything has gone virtual now. So I'm also adjusting to presenting online versus in person. So part 1 of this was actually recorded December 2017. And if you would like access to that, you can email me and I will go ahead and share that information with you. You may see me look down sometimes because I have to keep notes so that I can stay on track. Otherwise, I'll just share. But we have a limited time this evening. So I have to be more concise and to the point. Normally when at the events, we have 5 hours to speak and have different presenters, whereas tonight I only have about 30 minutes. And then I also have to leave time available for questions. Thank you. I'm so excited that you're interested. So the first part of what we're going to share tonight, I was just receiving information about someone who was trying to join, is, before we begin, things that I want you to consider. I'm looking at the chat again. Okay, so I have your email. Thank you so much, and I'll send that to you. It seems like the slides don't want to change. Okay, there we go. So before we begin, there's some things that I want you to think about and consider about what could affect you in creating your vision. I might just stray away from my notes because even as an instructor, I'm an international instructor in food safety and sanitation and things of that nature in my professional life. I actually don't like following notes. I like to just flow with what I find to be most important at that time, but I do not want to miss sharing certain information with you. So before we begin, I want you to explore how to live distinctively and create your vision. I would like to speak about 4 possible ways that this could be true to you. The first way is, if you listen to what I'm sharing with you today, but you don't understand what it is that I'm saying, please ask me for clarification. I don't want you to miss the importance of today's message or what I'm sharing with you because it's not familiar to you based upon your belief systems. So before you discard it, please still consider the possibilities and if there is any truth in what I'm saying. Also, please do not leave without asking me for clarification if there's something you don't understand. And you can also and always ask me privately. The second way this might be true for you is that you might hear me and understand me and receive what I'm sharing with you today, especially with great excitement. And I want you to please protect what you're learning and the revelations that you may receive and for your own life. And I want you to allow it to make or facilitate the necessary changes in your life. There may be challenges and problems that may arise, but I want you to focus on applying what it is that you're being taught to produce the changes and results that you desire. The third way that this might affect you today is that you may hear what I'm saying, you may understand it, but you're worried. There's things that are concerning you in your life. I want you to please firmly plant your vision directly in front of your present circumstances. Focus on your vision, apply what you are learning, and you will see the results. Focus on what you can do practically in every situation to make things better for you and produce good results. And you will have less to worry about. Your worries, fears, and concerns will decrease and your hope will increase. If you worry, you will continue to have more things to worry about if this is your way of thinking. So I want you to be proactive and do not worry. I want you to be responsible and protecting your vision until it becomes a reality for you. I'm going to go into greater explanation for this one, even though it's not a part of my notes. There was a time in my life when I had a huge amount of challenges that I faced, and nothing in my current reality seemed like it made sense for me having any hopes and dreams are all at that point in time. I had lost everything financially, and it was a bit of a dreary time. It was when I was pregnant with my son over 10 years ago. But what I decided to do, what pulled me through those times, and that's oftentimes what happens, you need to have something to look forward to in the face of impossibilities. And so I would always have something in front of me, literally. On my bathroom mirror, I would have goals or dreams or visions. On my bathroom door, I would have it. In my bedroom on the wall, I would have it. I would surround myself with what it is that I'm believing for, even when it looked impossible. I taught my son, who's now 10 years old, from the age of 4 on how to create his goals and visions. And I don't just have like what people do. They'll have a dream board and they'll just slap all kind of things thoughtlessly on it. I actually teach them how to develop a vision and how to practically work towards receiving those things that you desire. And the funny thing was that with his first vision board of sort, his goals that he was focusing on at the age of 4, every single thing came to pass for him. And I never helped him achieve a single one of those because I didn't want to make it seem like I'm the one who's facilitating the process. I wanted to teach him from a very young age how it works in life with being able to focus. And my son is amazing at planning. He was about 6 years old and he planned 3 birthday parties in advance. And I thought that, oh, he's not going to follow through. Kids, their interests change over time. But exactly how he planned his birthday party for those 3 years was exactly how it worked. So I, as a parent, teach my son what took me years to learn so that when he grows into maturity, that this would just be a way of living for him. If you can't hear me clearly, please let me know. If I'm speaking too fast, let me know also and I'll slow down. So I speak fast sometimes. Sometimes my accent may come out. I'm from the Bahamas. So if it's anything that may hinder the learning process right now, I would like for you to share that with me so that I can be most effective for you. And now the fourth point where I started off with before we begin is my heart's desire is for you. What my heart's desire for you is for you to hear me, to understand me, and for you to live a rewarding and fulfilling life by allowing what you're learning to produce the changes that you desire in your life, and for you to have much joy and great success. So you must change and prepare for this. So there's certain areas of your life that you should have visions for. And I'll make suggestions, but they're only that, suggestions and recommendations. Each person here is responsible for leading their own life, and you have to lead according to your personal convictions. So learning and knowledge is not sufficient enough to produce change. You actually have to be proactive in your change. So you've probably heard me say corresponding actions or appropriate corresponding actions. You have to do something that makes sense with your progression. I'll give you another example, and I always use myself as an example for bad things, like especially because I've done a lot of things the wrong way, and I've learned how to adjust accordingly. If I wanted to be a world-renowned chef, one of the first things that I needed to do, this is for Radisha now. Yes, I can cook. I was cooking from the age of 4. My mom taught me how to cook because she thought that she was going to die young. And she wanted me to be able to take care of myself just in case I had a not too nice stepmom. And so I've always grown up cooking. I did my first 3-course meal when I was 9 years old. But just because I can cook at home doesn't mean that I would qualify to be a professional chef. So I went to culinary school and I earned a degree in culinary management, and I went on to do more things in my particular field. So that is practically doing something towards my goals. I didn't just hope to be a chef, or I didn't just hope to be a culinary professional. I went ahead and enlisted myself in an institution of higher learning, and I worked my way through there academically, and I also got the practical skills to be able to do this. So sometimes we have wishful thinking and we want things to just happen and appear or drop on our lap, but you have to take action in doing those things. I'll give you another example. I was 19 years old when I started looking for my second car. I moved out of the home when I was 18. I graduated from high school. I turned 16 for graduation. So I was 15 in the 12th grade, turned 16 for graduation. And that was over here in Florida in the United States. Let me admit somebody in one moment. And so I went looking for my car. So I was an adult, like an adult earlier on, because I was taking care of myself. And I remember everyone kept telling me when I went to the dealership to purchase my second car that I would need a cosigner. I would need my parents to come in. There was no way that was happening for me, because why? I'm an independent adult. And even though everyone kept telling me that I couldn't do things, I had to go ahead and still find a way to get it accomplished, regardless of what people said was true. And I don't know why I'm sharing this right now, but I'm just going to flow. So I went to several different dealerships to purchase my second car, because the first car I purchased cash, the second one I was financing because I didn't want a used car. And I kept going, and my cousin was like, you know, we went to a particular dealership. The experience was horrible with the first salesperson. I said, you know, I don't really care about the way he treated me. I'll just let somebody else serve me. Long story short, everything that I was told would be impossible for me, and I did not have established credit, was accomplished because of my persistence and my dedication and learning how to ask questions and taking the appropriate steps and actions towards what I desired. The first salesperson who treated me with no respect was shocked to see me walk out of the dealership with a brand new car. By the time the transaction was completed, I was 20 years old and I had the key. So I didn't have established credit. I had only just started working at my job maybe 2 weeks before. I didn't have any money. They allowed me to take the car before they even ran my credit and keep it, I think, for a weekend or a week. And I was like, you know, how are you going to give me this car? And you don't even know if I'm qualified yet. I said, please don't do that, because you'll have problems getting this car back from me. And it was like, no, we'll find a way to make it work. I also got the car with having no money down. What they did was they took post-dated checks from me. And in addition to that, they gave me like a few months free. So it was so many different things that happened that was not in my favor. But because I knew what it was that I needed to accomplish, I still took the necessary steps and kept going forward, and the no's did not make a difference for my life. So I don't know why I shared that with you guys just now, but taking the appropriate corresponding actions towards what you like. You have to find out what is appropriate for your particular goal and vision. So when I encourage people to create a vision for their life, I encourage them to look at particular areas to create a vision. One should be your personal life. Oftentimes we focus on taking care of everybody else and we neglect to take care of ourselves. If you do not take care of yourself, you cannot be of great value and contribute to other people's success because you yourself are depleted. So what I ask you to do is look at yourself, look at your current lifestyle, look at your health goals, look at the personal development that you desire to achieve, and create goals around those. It's not selfish, it's essential, it's imperative. So for me as a mother, my son is not my whole life. And it may sound odd for me to say that as a mom, but I realize that if I don't also take care of myself, my son does not get the best of me. And I don't give my son everything and neglect myself, because when he becomes of age, it is not his responsibility to take care of me. It is my responsibility as a parent to take care of my son. And when I become old, it's still my responsibility to contribute to him as far as inheritance goes. So I'm not the parent that looks at my child as being like a meal ticket, my retirement plan. So make sure create goals around your life personally up into, more mature age, retirement, if that's something you choose to do, etc. Another area for you to create goals for in your life are spiritual goals. You don't have to be religious. If you don't believe in a particular religion, or you're atheist, agnostic, Christian, Muslim, whatever it may be, spirituality is still a very important element to who you are because you have a spirit, right? So when it comes down to creating goals around spirituality, that's something that you have to determine is appropriate for yourself and how you go ahead and do that. So for me, I used to create themes for my life. And I remember one year my theme was supernatural. So what I decided to do was I decided to pray for the results that I desired, but never prayed for money. So for me, it was a big deal because when I lost everything that I had, when I got pregnant with my son through a decision that I made to keep him, I no longer had access to certain things that I had before. And so I remember that year, I said, Lord, I don't care if the money never touches my hands. Once I have these desired results, that's all I care about. And that whole year was really testing. It really, really, really was testing. But I accomplished everything I desired and the money never touched my hands. Another thing that was important was I learned the power of my words. Days when I would desire to speak negatively, to tell somebody about themselves because they truly deserved it, any way that I could think of to use my words in a way that was not positive or productive, I learned how not to do. Days when I wanted to break down and cry, I prayed for other people. And that's another thing that I realized for spirituality for me. I learned that the more I prayed for other people and I did not pray for myself, everything worked out in my life. I remember the first time I made that decision and that commitment for a full week, everything seemed like it wanted to fall apart in my life. I'm like, how is this the week that I made the commitment not to pray for myself? And everything is just falling apart. Like, this absolutely makes no sense. And I kept that commitment and I prayed random things for people. Their lives were improved and so was mine. So find a focus in your spiritual life, or if you don't have a spiritual life, you can start to explore that realm. If you are in a marriage or a romantic relationship, you might need to create a vision for that also. I find that oftentimes relationships may not work out as well because beyond intimacy and feelings, there was not a goal or a vision. I myself am not married, and that's on purpose because I had to learn things about myself and choose to think about what would be important values for me in a relationship. I always tell people that I won't marry specifically for love, and people think I'm absolutely crazy for that. And the logic of reasoning behind that is that everybody has their own definition of love. For some people, it's feelings. For some, it's love, is patient and kind and keeps no record of wrongdoing, those kinds of things. But for me, I prefer to marry somebody who respects me and who I respect, and for us to have a common vision for our life. So that's just me. Again, you live your life according to your terms, your vision, and your definition. So you would have to figure out what would be good relationship or marital goals for yourself. Also, family. So my family, we create a vision. I have one child, and it's just the two of us in our home, but he has his father very, very, very active in his life. And so we have goals. So like we may choose to travel once a month. Every other month, we have our travel goals. We have all kinds of different goals, and we work on those together as a family. Financial goals. If you don't plan your money will just dwindle away. And I've learned that also. So think about finances. Do you want to save more? Do you want to invest? Do you want to give? Have a plan and a vision for your money. And then your professional life, your career, your business, if you're a business owner, if you desire to have a business, and think about what kind of professional development you may need to accomplish those things that you desire. So while you're creating your vision, there are certain things that might come up that you may need to consider. When you're creating your goals, I want you to think about them in terms of who, what, when, why, how. Who, what, when, where, why, how. When you're creating your visions, you need to be able to answer and say, well, who was with you when these goals are being accomplished, or who was necessary to accomplish these goals? Where is this happening? Are you moving to a particular location? How will it happen? Now, if you don't know the how, that's not a big deal. Most things I had no idea how I was going to accomplish it, but through me focusing on achieving it, the how came. I also want you to just think of all the details, the sensory details, the location details. I want you to really immerse yourself in creating your vision. And today's session is a short session, so I can't touch on everything like I want to. While you're creating your vision, I want you to be careful what you listen to, the conversations that you entertain, the music that you listen to, the shows and programs that you have before your eyes, because whatever you listen to and whatever you watch and whatever you speak affects every part of your life. So I want you to make sure that you free yourself from situations that might produce drama. And I want you to create a good home atmosphere. More important for me than anything else is being able to get away at home. I created my home to be the place where my family runs to come to versus running away from. So I want you to have your safe space, your peaceful space. I want you to think about the food that you're eating and how it makes you feel. I want you to start looking at all the details of your life. This year, I had a wake-up call about my health personally, and I didn't understand why my body was responding the way that it did. So I personally had to go through this journey myself and understanding and exploring why my body was responding or reacting to things and make the necessary adjustments. Because if I wasn't in good physical health, I couldn't be in good mental health or anything else. And actually my life could have been at risk also. So I want you to be careful what you listen to and what you don't listen to. I want you to be careful what you say and what you don't say. I want you to be careful about what you do and what you don't do. I want you to be careful about what you think and what you don't think. I want you to think about how you make decisions. Also, I want you to just be completely cognizant of what's going on around you. And we're on a platform where the time frame is kind of limited because it's not the paid version. So that's another reason why it has to be shorter, because I've made a lot of investments to continue the program and investing in equipment and other things of that nature. And so I just have to be wise with my spending right now. So I didn't, upgrade it. So you must have visual acuity when creating your goals and visions. You have to have a sharp vision with a sharp focus. You must also have visual perception, which is your ability to interpret what's going on. Sometimes you're going to be in situations where you're too close to a particular situation to see past it. There's going to be reasons why you might not be able to create a vision. Like there may be temporary changes in your life that take place for a number of reasons. You might be going through something mentally, physically, or spiritually that may inhibit you from being able to see past your circumstances. Or it could be that it might be too far out in the future. You might need to make a goal for right now, something that's easily attainable that builds your confidence and continuing on this path to creating a better lifestyle. And you might not be able to focus at all. And you have to find the reason why you're not able to do that. See, having a vision for your life and for my life allows me to live a really fulfilling life. I tell people my life isn't the way it is by accident. I planned for it to be this particular way. Before I had my son, before I was ever pregnant, there were certain things that I knew were important for me and I planned accordingly. And I always knew that when I became a mother, I would want to be home for at least the first year of my son's life. So when I did become pregnant, I had an opportunity to be able to do that. Also, instead of just being able to stay home with him for the first year, I also knew that missing an important date at school was not an option. So I am a business owner. I am an entrepreneur. I'm a culinary business management and strategist in the food industry. And my company is the Culinary Management Company, where we provide professional resources for culinary businesses. And I tell people that I would turn down money when it comes in conflict with what is important to me. So I have not ever missed an opportunity or an event at my son's school, an opportunity to volunteer or to be at my son's school for an event or performance that he has, because I planned for my life to be that way. Now, is it just easy peasy all the time? No, sometimes you make a sacrifice for that. You know, you have to figure out things and weigh the cost on what is most important to you. And for me, money is not the determining factor. My life goes, you know, my spirituality first, my relationship with God, my family, and then my career. So I understand how to prioritize my life according to my vision. And another thing with my life, I always hear people say, oh, I wish that my weekend could be like this, or I wish that things could be like this, or I wish that. The things that you say you wish that, look at it and see how valuable it is to you, and then make the adjustments necessary to accomplish that. One of those particular things is, for me, the weekend. I always wanted us to be able to have a peaceful weekend. We used to go all the time, you know. My son had cooking classes on the weekend. He had it on Tuesday and Saturday. Then they took Tuesday away from the membership. They didn't have it anymore because they said the attendance wasn't worth it. And then it was only on Saturday. And so we would go to the cooking classes on Saturday in the morning, but we would still feel drained. So we had to make a decision as a family, my son and I, to say, what is more important? Is getting rest more important, or is going to your cooking class more important? So we learned that if we really wanted to have a relaxing weekend, we had to start saying no to things. And that was not the norm for us. So from Friday evening to Saturday evening, that is complete family time. We eat, sleep, repeat, and do anything in between. On Friday, we make sure we have all of our snacks. He eats whatever he wants to eat because I don't force him to eat what he doesn't like. So my son, he gets his food. I have my food. He may watch his shows, whatever it is. We have no rules on Saturday except to relax and be in peace. And so people's like, oh, how, you know, people ask me, how do you do that? You have to plan. You have to know what's important to you. You have to know when to say no. You have to flow. You know, you have to make a decision and commit to it in order to be able to accomplish what it is that you desire to accomplish. And as a result of doing that, people now have the expectation and understand. Do not ask Radisha to do anything for you from Friday night to Saturday night, because that's her family time. So people now know how to interact with us based upon, you know, our goals, our vision, our definition. So most of our family, besides one person, and I won't call them out, challenges that. But even now, they seem to mellow down on what it is that they're doing. So I want to open up right now and ask questions from everybody who's listening, because I've spoken a lot and I can always share and share more. But I want to hear from you now. So you can unmute your microphone, you can type in the chat, you can go ahead and ask me any questions that you would like to ask me. Do we have any questions? Okay. If you don't have any questions, I will finish off the last few comments, and that will be us for this evening. So in doing certain things, I want you to choose what is your most important focus today. That's one of the things that I'm going to ask you to do. Choose your most important focus. Consider any recent or soon to be lifestyle changes. Are you getting ready to retire? Yes? Someone has a question?
I was trying to unmute my mic. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Evening.
Good evening.
I want to go back to the create the theme for my life. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure how to do that.
Okay. So look at your life and the direction that you desire for it to go in, and think about that. So I explained that one year my goal was supernatural. Another year it was, what was it? Another year it was something about basically like exceeding expectations. No, it was about increasing your value. Yes, that was the year, be distinctive, increase your value. So I had to find ways to increase my value to other people. So you have to figure out what it is that's important for you, and then go through that. And I know who I'm talking to right now also. So what you can do is we can brainstorm about this, at a separate time to be able to talk it through more. So someone asks, how could you find a goal? Okay. I don't know if that was asked recently. Do you want to open up your mic to ask me that question, or do you want to type more details about what do you mean by how could you find a goal? Okay, you'll type. So as you type, I'm going to keep speaking, and then when I see what your response is, then I'll respond to it.
So I have a question.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yes. So how do you stop yourself from getting too distracted? So what I mean is I have lots of goals, and I get started in trying to pursue one goal, and then something else comes to mind, and then I just kind of get distracted, and I never sometimes finish what I intend on doing.
I completely understand that. I prioritize them. And I look at what is most important to complete now that it will allow me to achieve the other goals. So I look at my goals for the big picture, and then I start looking at the value of it, and if that makes sense to you. Because I have a lot of goals and I can't accomplish all of them now, so I prioritize them. And I constantly update my goal list, but until I'm finished with something, I can't move on to the next thing is what my goal is. So whatever it is that you're working on, even though other ideas may come, it's good to have like a brain dump session where you have notes, and whatever thoughts come to your mind, you write it down so you don't forget it or you don't neglect it, but still focus on completing that most important task before you move on to something else.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. So that's another thing that we can consider a habit, a new habit to implement and one to change. And I had the habit of doing all kinds of things, but then I had to learn to create habits around the lifestyle that I desired. And so that also goes back to wanting our weekends to be free. I had to change the habit of saying yes and being there for everyone to saying no. When I wanted to stop biting my fingernails, I had to find something else to do with my hands. So what I had to do was I had to start finding things to do, like sitting on my hands, writing. I had to find other things to replace the habit that I didn't want to have anymore. And if you don't have a passion, so you don't know how to create goals, think about something that brings you great joy. For me, cooking is something I absolutely love. I've been cooking by myself from the age of 4, like going to the stove, making eggs, making tea from the age of 4. So I would cook any day without being paid for it. And so my uncle posed that question to me when I graduated from high school. If there's anything that you could do, and you would love doing it and you didn't care to get paid for it, that should be your career. The funny thing is that he didn't take his own advice. And that's what I did. And that's how my company developed. My company didn't start overnight. I've been like 20 years, 20 years in progress. So I started off as an amateur with no absolute experience in the food industry. And then I started off training people in food safety and sanitation. And then I developed a consulting agency. All of that was developed over time in the constant refining process. So look at what you love to do, even if it's just putting on makeup. And then you can work on creating a vision. It's a process, it's a lifetime journey. So don't beat up yourself if at this particular point in time, you can't figure out what it is. What I also want you to do is create a safe, peaceful place for yourself if you don't have one already, because that also helps with creating your vision. If you're around chaos all the time and it doesn't stop, it could be a challenge to create or see anything outside of your current circumstances. So that's what I asked you to do. And to be kind to yourself in the process, because yes, you may not know, but oftentimes we are our biggest critic. And I want you to be kind to yourself. So I want to share with you different ways that we could connect. Once a month, I have these talks, and they're for about 30 minutes. Sometimes I have events with speakers. We can talk about having weekly accountability and collaboration. Somebody wanted to ask me something? I hear a microphone open. Then we have weekly accountability and collaboration. If you wanted to work more one-on-one, more as a group, then you can work with me one-on-one. And then I also do offer coaching and consulting. Now, I want to share this with you, and I have an issue with asking for help. So I'm working on asking for help, how you could contribute to the success of the distinctive lifestyle. One way you can do that is share invitations to register for these sessions with your network. I've seen people from various countries join in, and it's become something that was international instead of it just being Florida. It's now outside of Florida, and it's been to several continents. And I'm like super excited that anybody who wants to listen to me. There's a space on my page where you can make a donation because it does cost to produce it. I have my assistant create the slides. She edits the videos. I've purchased equipment to be able to produce it, and I don't charge for it. So if in any way, even if it's what you think to be a nominal amount, it still helps. And then I can also be on a platform where I can speak for more than 40 minutes. If you're fluent in different languages and you can translate some of the recordings or the information, I ask you to please absolutely help me with that. And then when the products do become available, I will share those with you. And if you find that it works for you or fits for you or something you're interested in, you're more than welcome to get them as gifts. And then gift cards. So for the last minute, do you have any questions, comments? And look at that, I made a typographical error, haha. So if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know, because this is our last minute together, because you're gonna force us off the platform. If not, I would like to say thank you so much for joining today. I don't know which time zone you're in, but I would like to say thank you so much for joining tonight for the Distinctive Lifestyle, Your Life, Your Terms, Your Vision, Your Definition. And I am your host, Radisha Francis. And may you go ahead and live a rewarding, fulfilling life according to how you see fit and best. You're welcome, and goodbye for now. And I'll send you the recordings also. Oh, and I'm going to send you a sheet for homework.